everyone, welcome or welcome back to HAYAMAXX. As usual, I'm very excited to have you all here today, and as you can see from the title of the video, we will be discussing the Real Housewives of Durban episode 2. Before we continue on, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the socials, my personal page down here below, and my second page called Confessions of a Black Girl, which is a space for black girls, women, and femmes to feel celebrated and vulnerable. Also, I've recently been more active on TikTok, so you should definitely be checking me out there. So as you know, the recent episode of Real Housewives of Durban came out this past Friday, and there are just some things that I would like to discuss. The last review, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I've linked it up below. I was discussing more so whether you should or shouldn't watch it. We're going to get into a bit of those, but we're also going to be discussing a lot of what happened in the episode and what I think about it. So, to be honest, I thought that this episode was pretty much uneventful. I had high expectations after the most dramatic way that the last episode ended, especially considering that, as I said in my previous video, the whole episode was okay until we got to the end. And from what I can see, now that I need one more episode to prove that this is a pattern, because it could just be a coincidence. I feel as if the producers have this combination, this way of shaping the episode, that the end of the episode is where you are meant to get hooked. But I feel like this can only work so long, and here's why. I'm going to explain why I feel this way. So as we saw, the episode began with the ladies are still at the Diwali celebration at Suresh's house. And as we know, the way that last week's episode ended was when Nonku decided that it was the time and place to talk about her child that she had with Sfiso, who's Ayanda's deceased husband. And so they start discussing that. I feel like the way the last part was filmed, obviously, as I said before, reality TV shows are heavily produced, and they made it seem as if, well, from what I was inferring from the episode, that Ayanda had no idea about this child at all. So from what I can tell, she did know, and I had to do some more research because I was not really understanding the connection. So it turns out that there was a period in time that Sfiso and Ayanda had broken up, and in that period of time, Nonku and Sfiso had a child. So there's just a few things that I'm just still struggling to understand, like how the women had never seen each other, etc. Especially because Ayanda said that, oh, the daughter, I forgot her name. I forgot her name. I'm gonna remember next time. But she said Nonku's daughter left a pink sock at her house, and I was thinking to myself, so when Nonku's daughter came to your place, you didn't see it? Like, Nonku didn't drop her off, like, so Sfiso was fetching, like, I'm just confused how Nonku's daughter is like 13, they said. How in all these years have they not interacted once? Like, I'm just trying to understand that. Like, it just seems a bit far-fetched, and I'm going to continue into explaining why I think it's far-fetched. Personally, I think Ayanda handled that whole conversation brilliantly and was very mature about the whole thing, because at the end of the day, it was just not the time and the place to have it, especially in front of everybody who was there. Yes, I know, who was it Annie or Humotso who was pushing for the elephant in the room to be discussed, but I still agree that it was just not the time. But I think that they handled it pretty maturely, and as maturely as possible. So for that, I respect them both, because I really thought this was going to be a catfight type-ish episode, which, again, you watch reality TV for the drama as well. So that's kind of what I expected. I still don't understand why Nonku was acting that way, I feel like she could have brought up the whole thing without having such an attitude towards Ayanda. So that's what I'm still not understanding. There has to be something there, because for the life of me, I don't know what Ayanda did to be, spoken to that way when she entered last episode. But we'll get more into that later on when we talk about the sneak peek of next week's episode. After the dinner, we see that both Ayanda and Nonku are discussing about the events of what happened. And I'm not sure if this is just me, if I'm the only one sensing this. It seemed to be a little bit of tension, the way that Nonku was talking about Nonkanyiso. And obviously there's still tension between the way she's talking about Ayanda. Like, I don't know what it is, because I thought that they had a productive conversation, and I'm glad that they're going to meet up and discuss this a bit further. But I'm like, I still don't know where. Maybe it will be revealed, but I don't know what about Ayanda disturbs Nonku so much, if that makes sense. But I think that might be revealed. This is where I say like the episode for me really fell off. Like, I'm glad that we were able to close those off, and we know we got to a conclusion that Nonku and Ayanda are gonna try and raise their children kind of together because of their father. Sarisha and Khomoto have lunch. I don't even want to talk about it that much because, again, it still feels a bit staged. Like, I said, I understand it's reality TV, but it just didn't feel natural. And then we're talking about the flowers, and like, okay, I'm sure the flowers she did a great job, it was beautiful, but I'm like, why are we still talking about this? Like, I want you guys to talk about something else. Even the next segment, which was the fitness episode at Annie's house, I could have done without that whole thing. Like, why? I know that they needed an activity to kind of get the ladies together so they could have a discussion. That was just not it. I mean, I just feel like it was just not something I wanted to watch them do. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's so many things they could have done. I can't name one right now, but I just feel like there's other things they could have done to get the ladies together in an interesting way that wasn't just watching them work out. Like, I was like, okay, and then, but this, I'm just also confused about the timelines of things. So I don't, like, this is what I'm saying about how some of the things are set. You are inviting Ayanda to the workout thing. Also, yeah, why is it Sarisha inviting Ayanda to the workout thing? Is it because she and Annie aren't friends? But then Annie and her met at the dinner. So aren't they at the point where they could have at least exchanged contacts and Annie could have invited her herself? Or Khomoto? Like, I'm just confused. So now Ayanda comes from her lunch with her friend, and I'm just like, I don't know why it just does not make sense to me, because Ayanda was dressed up properly, was at a whole luncheon vibes, and then you go home to change quickly and you're still at the place in time. Like, I really feel like that was filmed afterwards or later, because there's just something about that didn't make sense, but that's not important. They decide to all have a discussion, and you know, there's a discovery. Oh, you're the Annie, your husband is Mang Mang. Oh, your your husband is Mang Mang. I'm Ayanda Mang Mang. Like, it was like that kind of thing. The only thing that really stood out to me was when Ayanda said, even though she knew about Nonku and knew about Nonku's child, the fact that she said she's never researched her. This might be my nosiness, because I'm a very, very nosy individual. But how? Like, I find that if my boyfriend or fiance at the time, when I guess, and they broke up, and you get back together, and he has a child with somebody else that is not me, I would at least want to know who this woman is. Like, even if I'm not talking to her, I would have at least researched her. That's why I don't understand. Like, you don't even know what she looks like. How? I know, like, I think I'm just nosy, and I know about other people's stuff more than they, like, what? Okay, let me know down below if you agree or disagree with me, but in 13 years, you've never ever Googled or researched her. I don't know why I find that so hard to believe. And even if she did purposefully pretend she didn't recognize Nonku, like, I don't know, that doesn't disturb me. I feel like she could have at least admitted that, okay, yeah, like, maybe once or twice. But I'm glad that somebody else brought it up. Who, I forgot it was, I think it was Annie or Sarisha. Somebody was like, I couldn't have done that. I would have had to research. And she was explaining that as a public figure, you know, you don't want to research too much, or I don't know. That part I was like, okay, I don't get it, but okay. Now we get towards the end of the episode, and they're all meeting up. Sarisha planned this. One of the reasons why Sarisha reminds me of, I don't know what it is. I think it's the way that they talk. She reminds me of Crystal. Obviously, she doesn't have the drama that Crystal has. It's not, you know, like, extra. I really like Sarisha. She's one of my faves. But I think, like, there's something about the way she talks. Like, when she was talking about the event, and she was like, we have the food and the thing and the this. I was like, why do you sound like Crystal to me, kind of? Like, I can't explain it. Anyways, so we're at the end where they're meeting at the casino, and oh, before that happens, there's a conversation between Ayanda and Nonku, and they're going to talk about meeting up in the next episode, which I will talk about soon, because we need to talk about the clip that happens at the end. Anyways, we'll meet at the casino for gambling. cool, and they all, you know, dressed to the nines and stuff like that. You know what makes me laugh? I'm laughing at the fact that they're all doing the COVID hello, but then interacting without masks. I totally understand that they have to, because how would we hear them on the reality TV show? But then I'm just like, what's the point of a COVID hello if you're not gonna wear masks, because COVID is airborne? But okay, cool. All of them are looking beautiful, lovely. I also noticed that we did not see a lot of Kanyi, so we just saw her enter, but not really much happened with her. So I'm guessing we might see her more next episode. Now, as usual, like in the last episode, most of the intensity kind of drama happens towards the last 5-ish minutes. And what we see is this woman called Zanele enter, who I believe is a gospel singer. Like, I could be wrong, let me know down below if I am wrong. And she enters. We notice two people react to this, Ayanda and Nonku. I'm just like, Ayanda, I do not know what the producers have against you, Miss Girl, Miss Thing, but there's a lot of storylines surrounding you. She was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know Saoirse knew her, blah, 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 blah. So I'm guessing there is some kind of tension that is there, and hopefully we get to explore that a bit more. And now, because we know that Ayanda's in the gospel scene and in the gospel space like that, I can see where their relation is. I'm just struggling to know where Nonku's relation is to the whole situation. But yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. But now let's get into what we see in the clip of next episode. We see that Ayanda and Nonku go for a lunch, and we can tell that the conversation is surrounding Sfiso. And the thing that's interesting is you just see Nonku in the clip speaking about how she wants to know how he passed away, blah, 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 blah. And then it cuts to Ayanda walking away. So we don't know what that means, but obviously it looks like this conversation gets pretty tense between the two ladies. And I'm hoping that this next episode is actually dramatic and not just like a clickbait thing like what happened to me this episode, where I was like, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen? And then it was anticlimactic. Yes, we should be happy that the women got along and figured out their issues, but I'm also, on the other hand, like, that was interesting, I guess. So thank you so much for watching my review on Real Housewives of Durban episode 2. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you want to see more of my content on Real Housewives of Durban, please check out my TikTok. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the socials. And I'll be seeing you very, very soon with another video. Goodbye.